Take a look at this barn. Take a look at this barn. Is it big or is it large? What do you think? Is it a big barn or a large barn? Well, it's both. You can use whatever word you want. It's your choice. Big and large mean the same thing. But there are some differences in the situation or the context that we use these words in, okay? Big is usually used as a casual word. So if the context is just casual, then we use the word big more. But if the situation is formal, then we use the word large. This is a better word in formal or professional settings, okay? So if you are writing a university essay, don't use the word big, okay? Don't use the word big in academic English, okay? So if you're taking the IELTS exam or, the CELPIP exam, probably the word big is not a good word to use in your writing. It's better to use large, okay? The same for giving a speech. Let's say you're giving a speech at a university in front of hundreds of people, or maybe a political speech, okay? Then it's better not to use the word big. You should use the word large, okay? Now take a look at this sentence. There's a big population of Indian immigrants living in Calgary. There's a big population of Indian immigrants living in Calgary. Is that good, if we use the word big? Well, it depends on the situation. If you're talking to your friends and you're telling them this information, there's a big population of Indian immigrants living in Calgary. Okay, then that's fine to use the word big, right? You're just around your friends. It's a casual context. But if you are, giving a speech, or like I said, if you're writing something, then it would be better to use the word large. There is a large population of Indian immigrants living in Calgary. Okay, so in most writing, generally writing tends to be more formal than speaking. Okay, and take a look at this. There is. Look, before when you were with your friends in a casual setting, it was theirs. Okay, there's a big population. Okay, there's and there is. Okay, so in formal writing or in speaking, if it's very formal in speaking, then it's better to separate the words. It's better not to use contractions. A contraction is when we make two words into one word, okay? So, like I said, formal writing is better to use large. If you're just texting your friends, okay, you can use the word big. It doesn't really matter. But if it's any kind of, like an email to your boss or something like that, then it's better to use the word large, okay? But both words mean exactly the same thing. You can choose. It's completely your choice. But there are some situations where you have to use one or the other, okay, where you don't have a choice. Most of the time you have a choice, but there are some situations where you don't have a choice. For example, if you go to a restaurant like McDonald's or Starbucks or something, and you order a drink, okay, then the sizes are going to be small, medium, and large. Not big, large. Okay, so you have to use this word here. If you want a large Pepsi or a large French fries, you need to use the word large. You can't say big. You can't say, hi, I would like a big Pepsi. It doesn't make sense. I mean, you could. They might understand it, but you need to use the word large in this context, okay? Now take a look at this. No big deal. No big deal. Have you heard that before in English? Well, it's a very common phrase that we use. It's very important. It means it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, okay? It's no big deal. For example, let's say these two women are having tea at her house. Okay, and this woman accidentally drops her teacup and it shatters on the floor. Then she's going to say, "Oh no, I'm so sorry." And she's going to say, "No big deal." No big deal. It doesn't matter. No big deal, right? It's just a cup. It's just a teacup. It costs like $1, right? So it's no big deal, okay? So you have to use the word big here. You can't say no large deal. That wouldn't make sense, okay? It has to be no big deal. Now take a look at this. This is a Big Mac at McDonald's. It's not a large Mac. You can't say large Mac. It's a Big Mac, okay? So that's the name of the hamburger. All right. Big shot. Do you know what a big shot is? A big shot means an important person. An important person is a big shot, okay? Look at this limo with tinted windows. This limousine with tinted windows. There's probably a big shot in there, right? It might be a politician or a rich businessman. Okay, so they're a big shot, someone who's famous or, very important in society is a big shot. Now, big hand. A big hand, that means clap or, to give applause. Okay, so look at this musician, right? This musician has just performed a beautiful piece. And then someone is going to say, "Please give a big hand to Sarah Chang." Please give a big hand to Sarah Chang. That means a lot of clapping, a round of applause. Okay, applause. Do you know what that means? Very often we use the word round of applause. Round means a period of applause, maybe like 30 seconds or something, where everybody claps. That's called a round of applause. And a big hand means a big round of applause. Yeah, show your excitement, your enjoyment, your appreciation. A big hand. Okay, so most concerts or, shows that you go to, you will hear this line, "Please give a big hand." A big hand. It can't be a large hand, not a large hand. It's a big hand. Okay, so you have to use the word big in that case. Okay, take a look at this situation. This boy says, "Hey mom, I want to eat 5 tacos. I want to eat 5 tacos. I'm a big boy." "Mom, I want to eat 5 tacos. I'm a big boy now." Okay, take a look at that, big. You can't say large here. He wouldn't say, "I'm a large boy now." Big, that means mature. He's not a baby. He doesn't want to be a baby. He's a grown up now, right? He wants to be mature, right? That's why he says, "I'm a big boy," right? But let's say he only eats 1 taco, right? Just 1. And then he says, "Mom, I'm full. I'm full. I can't eat anymore. My stomach is full. I'm full." What's the mother going to say? She's going to say, "Your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Your eyes are bigger than your stomach." Have you ever heard that before? That's an idiom in English that means when you think you can eat this much, but you can only eat this much, then we say your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Have you ever gone to a restaurant and you've looked at a menu and you see all this nice food and you order a bunch of food, but then you can't eat it all? Well, then you could say this. You could say, "My eyes were bigger than my stomach. I can't eat all of this. My eyes were bigger than my stomach." Okay, so in this case, you have to use the word big. You can't say large because this is a saying, right? You can't change this word. It has to be there. Your eyes are bigger than your stomach, not larger than your stomach. Okay, now the words big and large are very generic words. They're just general words. They're not specific words. Most of the time, there are other words that you could use that are more specific. For example, big and large could mean tall or long or wide or fat. If you say someone is big, wow, look at that guy. He's pretty big. That probably means fat. Okay, so very often people use the word big, as sort of a polite way to say fat, because it's very rude to call someone fat, right? If you say, he's fat, that's really rude. So very often people use the word big. I don't know why. Or the word mature. Okay, like the boy who said, I'm a big boy now. He was meaning mature, not fat. Mature. Okay, so these words can be a little bit confusing sometimes because they can mean a lot of different things. Okay, now most of the time it's good to use a specific word if you can, right? If you can use the word mature, that's good. That's better than big. If you can use the word, tall or wide or something, it's better to use a specific word. But I want to tell you a secret about native English speakers. Okay, and that secret is that sometimes native English speakers are lazy. Okay, actually, quite often native English speakers are lazy, and they just use, the generic words. They don't use specific words. And that can be very confusing. It can be frustrating for, an English learner because the meaning of the word changes depending on the context, right? So when the boy said, I'm a big boy, right? He wasn't saying he was a fat boy. Or if you say that guy's really big, look at that guy, he's really big. Okay. I'm not saying he's mature. I'm saying he's fat, right? He's like 400 pounds. He's really big. I'm not talking about his personality or his maturity, right? So these words, big and large, they can mean different things in different contexts. And that can be a little bit confusing for native English, or not for native English. That can be confusing for English learners. But, that's why I make lessons like this, to try to make things simple for you to understand. But hey, I want to know, are your eyes bigger than your stomach? Have you ever ordered too much food and then you realize you couldn't eat it all? If you go to a restaurant and your eyes are bigger than your stomach and you order too much food, most of the time you can ask the server to pack it up for you, to take it to go home, right? So then you don't waste it, because if you go to a restaurant and you order a lot of food and you don't eat it and you leave, well, they're just going to throw it in the garbage. So then it's wasted food. So you can ask the server, you could say, could we get this packed up to go? Could we get this to go? And then she will say, sure. And she'll take the plate and bring it back to the kitchen and then put it into a little container and then come back and give it to you. Okay, so anyway, let me know, have your eyes ever been bigger than your stomach? Let me know down there in the comments, and I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.